Is Apple about to shake up the streaming world with an ad-supported tier or a massive acquisition like Warner Brothers Discovery? The answer, according to a key Apple executive, might surprise you. Despite persistent rumors and widespread speculation, it seems Apple is sticking to its own playbook. But here's where it gets controversial. Could this strategy be a mistake, leaving them behind in the streaming wars? For months, whispers have circulated, naming Apple as a potential suitor for Warner Brothers Discovery, WBD. The idea? That acquiring the studio's vast film and TV library, along with HBO's prestige content, would instantly catapult Apple TV Plus into the major leagues of streaming. After all, Apple TV Plus currently holds a relatively modest position compared to streaming giants like Netflix, Disney Plus, and even the rapidly growing Paramount Plus. Adding fuel to the fire, Apple TV Plus remains the only major streaming service stubbornly refusing to embrace the now ubiquitous advertising-supported tier. Almost every other player, from Netflix to Hulu, offers a cheaper subscription option in exchange for viewers tolerating commercials. While Apple does dabble in advertising through live sports like MLS and the upcoming Formula One broadcasts, they've resisted applying this model to their core streaming service. And this is the part most people miss. Is Apple betting that a premium, ad-free experience is a stronger long-term differentiator? Eddy Cue, the Apple senior vice president in charge of services, recently addressed these rumors head-on in an interview with Screen International, alongside Apple TV Plus chiefs Jamie Ehrlicht and Zach Van Amberg. His comments were pretty definitive. When directly asked about the possibility of an ad-supported tier for Apple TV Plus, Cue stated, "Nothing at this time." He elaborated, "Again, I don't want to say no forever, but there are no plans. If we can stay aggressive with our pricing, it's better for consumers not to get interrupted with ads." This suggests Apple believes the value proposition of an ad-free experience justifies its current subscription price. But is that truly what consumers want? Or are they simply willing to put up with ads for a cheaper option? Shortly after, Cue was asked about the possibility of Apple acquiring WBD or even other media companies like A24 or Disney. His response was equally dismissive. Same answer as before, but you've got to look at Apple from a historical point of view, Cue explained. We don't do a lot of major acquisitions. We do very small acquisitions in general, not related to Apple TV. So I don't see that happening because we like what we're doing. We're building and will continue building from that. To put this into perspective, Apple's largest acquisition to date was the $3 billion purchase of Beats in 2014. That figure pales in comparison to the reported $60 billion price tag WBD is rumored to be seeking. It highlights Apple's traditionally conservative approach to mergers and acquisitions. Apple has undeniably been making strategic moves to strengthen Apple TV Plus, including bundling with NBC Universal's Peacock streaming service, securing the $750 million Formula One deal, and generally working to improve accessibility for consumers. However, according to Cue, there seems to be a clear limit to their ambitions. This raises the question, is Apple being strategically patient, or are they missing out on opportunities to aggressively expand their streaming footprint? Apple certainly has the financial resources. Boasting a market capitalization nearing $4 trillion and over $55 billion in cash reserves, they could easily afford a major acquisition. But unlike companies like Microsoft, which isn't afraid to make splashy acquisitions like Activision Blizzard and LinkedIn, or Amazon, which has readily acquired companies like MGM and Whole Foods to gain market share, Apple seems committed to its organic growth strategy. In fact, Apple shares a similar philosophy with Netflix, another streaming giant that has historically favored building over buying. As Netflix co-CEO Greg Peters stated last month, We come from a deep heritage of being builders rather than buyers. I also think that one should have a reasonable amount of skepticism around big media mergers. They don't have an amazing track record over the history of time. However, even Netflix has reportedly hired a bank to explore WBD's financials, suggesting that they too are at least considering the possibility of a major acquisition. This begs the question, is Apple being too stubborn in its approach? Ultimately, Eddy Cue's comments suggest that Apple intends to stay the course, focusing on organic growth and avoiding the pitfalls of large-scale acquisitions. But is this the right strategy for the long term? Will Apple's commitment to an ad-free experience and organic growth ultimately pay off, or will they be left behind as other streaming services consolidate and aggressively expand their reach? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you prefer Apple's ad-free approach, or would you be willing to tolerate ads for a cheaper subscription? And do you believe Apple is making a mistake by not pursuing major acquisitions like Warner Brothers Discovery?